Welcome to all of you on this roll. I will try to clarify the real motives for concealing the true form of our world. I will run ahead and immediately say that behind the model of the fractal world is hidden our immortality, and to realize the fact that our eternal souls are imprisoned in mortal bodies, watch this video until the very end. I will try to explain everything as simply and easily as possible. The most dangerous theory of the shape of our world is the heliocentric model, where we are supposedly on a rock flying in the void, absolutely defenseless. Among others, the same stones, like riding an electric scooter on the middle lane of the highway at rush hour, and all safety consists of only a helmet and knee pads, that is. A thin atmosphere of some layers of gas and nothing else was presented, right? Detailed explanations are provided in episode 1 with the return link included in the description. Another half-truth about the structure of our world is the theory of a flat Earth, where we are supposedly already in relative safety under a dome on a flat disk. But what is hidden behind this theory? What is the point of this massive deception? Other lands behind some kind of ice barrier, and that's it. People who have not even been to other continents are fighting hard for this, the majority who have not even crossed the border of their imaginary state. And what's the point then? What are you fighting for? Supporters of Flat Earth, they are why the guys Flat Earth are only one of the versions promoted by lies and for many to look for. The Flat Earth theory proved to be a good springboard for crossing the perception fence established by the system. The Snowfall Bullet in the video Flat or Fractal World spoke in detail about his experience on this topic. The link will also be in the description, and we move on. The honeycomb model of the Earth, in fact, is a hybrid of the flat model and the victory model, created recently by the Italians Claudio Nacelli, who actively sells his books and earns money from gullible people, where again the essence of the concealment allegedly consists of intruded lands. In other cells, there is nothing new or important to discuss here. The channel includes a related video with a link in the description. And we are slowly creeping up on a more intelligent model of the world-footed model. It is this model that I studied closely before I grew up to understand the world egg, because it is in this model that the world egg is mentioned. The 39 lands are vast worlds of higher and lower order, only I didn't have any puzzles, a lot of inconsistencies. And the plane again. That very plane that does not fit into the algorithm of fractal volumetric universe, and the essence of concealing the form of our world again revolves around certain lands and schizoteric levels of development, where our world, somewhere in the middle between dark and light worlds. So there is no reasonable answer in this model either. What is the point of hiding the shape of our world so diligently and at the global level? The world story model led me to another dead end. It was then that Sergei Ariev, the author of the Channel of the Century, sent me this video. Then I froze and goosebumps danced down my spine. It was then that I drew attention to the sphere of the sky of the vault converged Pasliki. I dropped a huge number of questions and began to actively search for information that was not so easy to find. But he who walks will overcome the road, as they say. And for those who come to the model of the fractal world today, it is much easier because we have tried to collect for you a huge amount of material, terabytes of available knowledge and absolutely free, which can be found in the description, in the Telegram, and on our YouTube channels. But at that time, the question of the meaning of concealing the shape of our world still remained unanswered for me. And only when I began to add grains of knowledge from Vladimir V, brother of Asgard, Cooley of Snowfall, and other authors, I began to realize that we are mortal people and our souls are immortal. This is a clear inconsistency. And the answer turned out to be so simple and in the most prominent place. It turned out that the world before the capture was completely different. There was no cyclicity, there was no change of day and night, summer and winter, death and birth, and only with the awareness of the solar in the center of our world egg do you understand the true meaning of concealing the shape of our world. Yes, on such a global scale that an unprepared listener may have his eyes on his forehead from such a drastic change in worldview. But let's not rush. Let's start with the capture of our world with an understanding of how everything happened and what is the difference between the original and the captured world. The ancient free world was a fairy tale world where under the light of the sun there was no night of winter and death. The world of eternal creators and giant trees, yes, that same silicon world, but approximately 7,533 years ago, our world was captured and enslaved by a crocodile, hiding our true luminary in the Star Temple. They stripped us of our eternal forms, leaving only the illusion of life spinning within the cycle of samsara. We were told tales of the heroic creation at the Star Temple, but the cyclic world they conceived followed the ruin of the free world. Now, do you comprehend the deeper truths hidden behind our world's design? Instead of a genuine luminary, we were provided a substitute, the Rilasun. Allow me to explain further. This was documented long ago, such as this reference from Genesis chapter 1. Verse 3.
He commanded, "Let it be a drill," and thus the drilling commenced.
There is light, but there is no sun. Verse 5.
Name. Hence the night.
But wait, what constitutes this day and night? The sun and moon are yet to appear, and verse 14 remains distant, a glaring oversight in Steve chapter 6.
I do grasp the idea.
What firmament emerges from this, and what, pray tell, provided illumination before the arrival of solar light? Verse 7.
And God created a door for you, water, which is a door from water which believed in growth and became so.
That from which he separated the water there is both under the firmament and above the firmament it is like. Verse 8.
There wasn't a
The sky appears solid, as noted in verse 14.
Good afternoon. Lights for the separation of day and night, and for knowledge in times and days and houses.
Here begins day and night. What unfolded in verse 5 is profound. And why does the statement melt with the sun? What kind of material is the firmament, or is the sun just a lantern? Verse 15.
They illuminated two higher heavenly realms
To shine.
on the ground and became.
What is the significance of these lamps? Is that why Tver resists melting? Verse 16.
Two great lights, a greater one to rule the day, a lesser one to rule the night, along with stars.
What happened to me? Light before the creation of the luminaries of Salar. The true light that was hidden from us, and that before that was day and night. Verse 17.
And he set them to God for rejection and exchange, to watch over the earth.
Why does the Bible stress firm beliefs and principles? Verse 18.
Management, and saw to God that it was good.
As they say, don't break down. We aim to preserve the world as designed by its creators, avoiding cycles of Tver, lamps, and the burdens of this flawed realm. This is how scripture, of course, is rewritten without doubt, but the Bible stubbornly insists that the lamps are in the solid heavens and the cycle, that is, night is winter respectively, and death is the result of the capture of our world during creation in the Star Temple. About 7,000 years ago, that is, the primordial world was burned, and from the earthly dust, the highest gods of the hierarchy created this world. More precisely, they hid solar from us, limiting our access to limitless energy, imprisoning us all in mortal bodies. A good example to visualize exactly how our access to energy has been limited would be the analogy between our world and a living cell, because at the moment chemical processes occur in our cells, that is, energy and information are transmitted much more slowly because of all these extra elements. Could substances cheating metabolism play a role? And in a living cell, just as in our world, there is a kernel of lettuce at the very center. If the nucleus of the cell is closed in the nuclear envelope, then our salad is hidden in the starry sky. Is this a coincidence? Coincidence does not happen, and our world is captured at all levels of being at the cellular level, once a fully autonomous cellular unit due to direct electrical energy transfer. That is, without the nuclear shell of mitochondria and various evil spirits now depends on power from the outside. That is, it captures substances edible for itself from the external environment and one way or another uses these substances. Well, you get it, yes, an autonomous cellular unit has become an environment-dependent unit due to the limitation of the central nucleus. I repeat, metabolism is a deception of substances, as Vladimir Piativra once told her. And before we get too far from the topic of living cells, let's look at two versions of the 39 Earths, but already in the interpretation and fractal of the universe one, my earlier model is a bunch of grapes. This is a set of worlds according to the principle of 39 lands, where in each cluster there are 27 worlds. We are told about this in fairy tales and myths, and many descriptions. Many are looking for these lands behind some ice wall or in other cells and levels, naively believing rewritten scriptures, but there are no answers. You need to look for them by drawing analogies with the world around us, because from small to large, everything is intertwined, the universe fractal. To an example, and more reasonable as I see it, would be the model of neural connections between neural living cells. If neuronal cells float in cerebral fluid, then the worlds of 39 Earths are in the world ocean, which is also composed of water. And like neural connections, worlds are connected by highways to each other. Only our captured world is isolated, ties with other worlds have been severed, and the passage is carefully guarded by the rulers of this world, what is hidden behind the wall of ice. Lands and lands, just not behind the wall and not on the plain. Hidden in Antarctica is a passage into a canal that connects our world with other worlds. And this is again if we explore the world on the principle of similarity without being afraid to draw analogies with the world around us. Also, observing the world around us, we can clearly understand that the universe is not a fool at all, and in such a reasonable way creates its fractal nesting dolls that everything most important, whether it is a cell, a fruit, or any organism, is hidden inside under a shell under protection. The cowfish under the shell, seeds and nuts under the shell, the brain in the skull, under the protection of the cubs, grow in the uterus egg-shaped. It protects the embryo from adverse effects, environmental factors, and so in everything on the principle of fractal similarity, And everything possesses a nucleus, heart, yolk, or core, safely encased. This universal pattern deserves recognition as it reflects an intrinsic cosmic design not to be overlooked. And as we all realized, our world is not an exception to the rule, our world is also a core. And no, the core of our world is not a ball of metal alloys. This is complete nonsense, and there is no other way, because any ferromagnetic metal reaching a certain Thuri point loses its magnetic properties. Only at school they forgot to inform us about this. Where does gravity come from? Many will ask. Gravity does not exist in principle. And there are levitation, there are different magnetic, aerodynamic, acoustic, optical, electric, ultrasonic, acoustic, electromagnetic, and different combined types of levitation. Our supposedly modern technologies are not even able to give us a full answer on this topic. But nevertheless, there are a huge number of experiments proving the existence of these very types of slander. Remember at least my son's school experiment with an electrified ruler and pieces of paper. The answer was always in front of us. And most likely there will be those who will write the popular both, yes, the water is flat, look at the level. Water is not a conductor and cannot interact with gravity. Water always takes the shape of a vessel, so on a flat earth, flat water. Water has never been a plane. Water takes the shape of a vessel, but what shape is the plane then? Cylindrical glass? Or what if there is a joke here? But it's okay. First of all, flat water in nature cannot be found. All droplets and microdroplets have different shapes from hemispheres to oval, but we attribute this to the force of tension of water. So be it. But regarding conductors, yes, water is not the best conductor, but it is quite easily exposed to impact. For example, acoustic levitation, and this is proven experimentally. It is huge. No force is needed to act on the water. It is easily deformed using an ordinary unelectrified wand made of plexiglass. Everyone can do this experiment in their own kitchen. Anyone can do this experiment at home. And either way, will you use sand, paint, or liquid, any electromagnetic field will always be drawn by Ram. And all because the solar, hidden in the very center of the world, has the shape of an octet. Remember the principle of similarity? And also a little earlier we discussed the inner core of everything around. You haven't forgotten. So we have come to the very point, and all these long conversations of different types of analogies and examples were necessary for a reasonable understanding of the main question concerning the shape of the Earth. Namely, the understanding of Solon as the core of our world, as well as the true luminary of the primordial world. Yes, Solar has several important functions. The whole world rests on it, and it was impossible to destroy it. Otherwise, the whole world would fall apart like a house of cards, and a similar core in a living cell Salar was hidden behind a shell, behind the sky, you know? We were isolated. In fact, here is an endless source of energy, and in the times when the luminaries of Salar were not in the world, darkness was not night and winter. After all, the true light of our world uniformly illuminated the whole world. Stable temperature, uniform lighting, grew giant trees and lived huge creatures. There was no need to devour each other. Everyone had enough energy. The life form was not carbon, based on slow chemical exchanges, but silicon without extra crutches. The transfer of energy was electrical and instantaneous. One blink, one Siganot teleport. Do you know what I mean? The word education is based on the promptings of ancient teachings. You see, the ancients still remembered what it means to Siganot. They had such a unit of measurement. What is equal to one force in modern units and time? The answer makes anyone think. In 1 second contains 300 Pascal, 244, 992 sig, and 1 sig is approximately equal to 30 oscillations of the electromagnetic wave of the electroatom of cesium, taken as the basis for modern electroatomic clocks. Why did our ancestors need such small numbers? The answer is simple: to measure the processes used, signal, teleport. You realize the difference between our captured world and that ancient world. Do you understand what forms our souls could have taken in those days? You can, at least for a moment, imagine the power which we possess then in the eternal creative cheap emotions in the human body is a fart in comparison with the explosion of a hydrogen bomb of immortal beings who could instantly change shape and size, created entire worlds. This is what lies behind the shape of our world, our former immortality, my dear ones. Feel it with all your soul, because it can all be returned. It is possible to regain immortality in this world, but first it is necessary to understand how exactly we have been enslaved, to realize the fact that at the center of our world, if the true luminary is solar. And solar is a living device created by us together with this world. We are the very creators of the worlds, but now you cannot say about us, however, a pitiful likeness of the former angels. But let's not talk about the sad things. How is the salad made? If in 2 words, then solar is 2 fractal pyramids which concentrates energy in a bowl, and each pyramid has its own bowl, and in each bowl there are vortices concentrating plasma in the very center. And already from the center the energy spreads to the poles and peripheries, forming an toroidal flow of energy. And recently a video was published that explores the true structure of our world's luminary, intertwining scientific experiments with ancient symbols and myths, revealing profound connections. I will leave the necessary links in the description for those who are really looking for answers to the most important questions. To summarize, the true form of the world is far beyond geometric debates and controversies. It embodies the essence of memory, remembrance of what we used to be and what we have lost. Through layers of illusions, we transitioned from emptiness to structured creations, from theories to life's profound lessons, unraveling deep mysteries. Among all these models lies a simple yet profound truth. We are immortal souls inhabiting mortal entities, carrying untapped potential and dreams. The form of the world is hidden not because it is a mystery for the sake of mystery, but because, knowing it, we will remember our eternal creation. We will remember that we once lived in a world without night, without the winter of immortality, in a world where energy was everywhere, pure, alive, undistorted and limitless, where there was no need to fight or outlive each other because everything necessary surrounded us everywhere. The sun, our world's radiant heart, connects deeply to our essence, our identities, and our destinies. Even in our segmented existence as humans, its hidden presence stirs a longing to transcend the cycle of samsara's endless repetitions. Recognizing our genuine self will initiate vast transformation, as changing the world begins with personal healing and discovering profound inner truth. This is not just a video, this is the call of the soul, the call, the awakening, the return home, because the truth does not require faith, it just waits. When you begin to collect it from the fragments, return to eternity, remember who you are, to see the world as it was created, fractal, free, alive, and eternal. We will also talk about what is important to all the benefits and pure reason on the way.
On this day and every new day, English, everyone.
Congratulations to S.
With the onset of spring, the darkness recedes and the flint comes to life, and after a long night we awaken. The moment has arrived to expand your knowledge, experiences, and memories with the essence of vegetables, exchanging them with rays and hidden energy to illuminate your body and restore the vigor of your eternal pursuits. Alive for cold flint. Each day I radiate light, and you, my radiant brother, embody the brilliance. Heartfelt congratulations to everyone for their progression. Today and every new beginning brings joy as Vestna marks the retreat of darkness. Cold flint ignites, life awakens, and we emerge from a prolonged night. Let us open ourselves to the depths of our knowledge, experiences, and memories, sharing them with radiant sparks to illuminate our path. And what to restore your eternal ones, because the attack on the forest. Alive and vibrant, mixing energies that radiate light to the distant edges. Light soon encompasses your essence, and to you, my shining friend, congratulations.